Hey, what's happening, family? It's your man, Mark Black. I know I was supposed to broadcast today, and I apologize to those who were expecting a broadcast today, but I am going to be appearing on a broadcast tomorrow. Be on the lookout on the community page for the post highlighting and announcing the broadcast. I wanted to talk a bit about what we saw today in Louisville. Or Louisville, right? I want to talk about the fact that yet again, justice is denied to one of our people. Now, for those of you who follow me, who follow my work, you know that this isn't a surprise, right? This isn't something that we should have expected to be any different than what it is, right? I will say that I believe that the charges on the one officer that was charged is basically a slap in the face, right? That officer was charged essentially with missing our sister, with putting bullets into that apartment. Had any of his rounds not went anywhere but into apartment number 4, even the officer that was charged with wanton endangerment, that charge would not have been levied upon him. There are those of you who are going to say that it was all the AG's fault. He played a role. He could have just simply charged the officers, but he didn't. We know that. They play grand jury games. They did this in the case of Mike Brown. They've done this hundreds of cases before. The AG or the Solicitor General or the DA could just simply file the charges, but to keep the heat down and to do a little deflecting to stop Negroes from getting too agitated, they convene a grand jury where they can comfortably go in and play the role of defense attorney for the cops. So no true bill is returned. We already know this. But I want to lay something on your head tonight, right? You're going to see a lot of people, you already have been seeing a lot of people tell us that we need to go out there and make sure that when we protest or we stand up against this injustice, that we do it peaceably, that we respect the law, right? That we don't go out and hurt these folk, burn up shit, do different things, this, that, and the third. I need for all of you to understand what actually was said to us today. So you then can make the choice as to whether or not you think that that's a valid request to demand of us or not. What essentially was said to us today by the Attorney General there in Kentucky was that Breonna's killing was lawful, right? By him refusing to bring any charges upon the officers, and the only charges brought on any of the officers involved had to do with endangerment of somebody who wasn't even involved in the situation, right? So it wasn't anything about what happened inside the apartment with Kenneth, Breonna, and those officers. It was because of the potential danger, the reckless and willful and wanton endangerment of the people next door. They told you and I that to come into her home, knock or not, doesn't matter, right? To knock or not, because the police never knock, they beat on your door, right? So knock or not, anything that happens once they decide to enter into your domicile is lawful, at least within the confines of Kentucky. Now, let's keep it a buck. We've seen these killings happen all over America. So it's fair to assume that in spite of whatever statutes a particular jurisdiction claims to adhere to, when it's all said and done, anything that ends in the killing of one of us at the hands of law enforcement is considered lawful. You know what else in this country was considered lawful? Our ancestors' enslavement was considered lawful. It was the law. It was legal to buy and sell humans as chattel. You know what else was legal? Forcing people to put their hard-earned labor into land that is not theirs in the hopes of getting a product that they can sell to keep body and soul together. You know, sharecropping. That was legal. Convict leasing, legal. Medical experimentation upon us as a people, legal. Matter of fact, they don't even talk about legalities all that much when it comes to medical experimentation. They talk about terms of ethics. So it doesn't matter how unethical it is. If there's no legal sanction, then it's lawful. It's accepted. I need you all to understand this argument. You're to adhere to the law. Whatever they interpret the law to be, whatever they say the statutes are, you're to adhere to them. Meanwhile, the people charged with ensuring that you adhere to them can violate those standards, laws, rules, statutes, codes at will. That's what it is. That's the reality of the matter. When people say, what can we do to change it, to reform it? How do you reform that? Where do you get the incentive for reform? The people that have the power to actually make the changes, to actually make the reforms, continue to utilize that power to legalize and authorize the continued oppression, subjugation, and murder of us. How do you reform that? Vote. Kentucky's a Democrat. It's got a Democrat as a mayor and a Republican as a governor or as the AG. And here we are. Two different parties, same outcome. And it's the same whether you look at places like, well, I don't know, Minnesota, Minneapolis. Most of those people are Democrats. The governor is a Democrat. Same result. The wanton disregard for anything that resembles the descendants of the enslaved here in the United States. There are those of you who will go out in various locales, as well you should, and seek what I'm coming to call maximum emergency compensatory action. Now, I've been told that when you go to seek such actions, you should prepare for your demise in such circumstances. Okay? I'm going to give you 3 tips, just 3. Should you be of the mind that all of the other avenues, all of the other vehicles, all of the other pushes just don't seem to be compensatory enough for you, doesn't bring you the justice which you rightfully deserve? I got 3 tips for you. Number 1, no electronics on your person. None. No cell phones, no pagers, if people still use those. No nothing. Nothing that emits an electromagnetic signal should be on your person. Nothing. Number 2, make sure that in spite of whatever is happening on the ground, that you have both your ingress path into the zone in which you intend to operate, and an egress path. In other words, a way in and a way out, independent of what anybody else or anyone else is doing in that particular area. And number 3, and the most important, shut the fuck up. Shut up before, shut up during, and if you are still with us at the end of your action, shut up after. I'm not going to sit here and tell anyone anymore that they have to choose one particular path to acquire justice over another one. I don't have anything to say at this particular point about what anyone, black, white, indifferent, does within the confines of Louisville, Kentucky, or Portland, Oregon, or Seattle, Washington, or Baltimore, Maryland, or Washington, D.C., or anywhere else. If you're a victim of the system of white supremacy and racism, however you decide to fight, I support you. The whole world may, in hindsight, demonize you. I won't. And hopefully those within the sound of my voice won't. Breonna didn't get justice. Were we expecting it? Truly, if you were being honest, let us at least be honest with ourselves. Were you expecting that she would actually get any justice? Because if the answer to that question for you is no, then why would you be surprised at anything that can and should and would and will happen outside of the confines of a courtroom to ensure that justice is produced? Why would that be even shocking to you? Why any reports of officers being shot in Louisville? Why would that be shocking to you? Why would reports of buildings on fire and attacks and skirmishes with the motherfucking police, why would any of that actually be shocking to you? If you actually had no expectation whatsoever that sister was going to receive anything resembling justice, if you had a niggling doubt in your head, then what comes next is what comes next. I love you. Stay safe. Educate yourselves on how to maneuver out here in these streets, because it's about to fucking get real. And it's been long past time that it does so. It's your man, Mark Black. Fam, until the next time I see you, until the next time I get a chance to speak with you, for us, I wish, as always, love, peace, prosperity, and power, real power to our people.